In the world today, voices are loud, screens are bright, and opinions move faster than light. But remember, when the wind howls, the wise do not chase the leaves. They sit still under the tree of awareness, watching the storm pass. So when someone says, war is coming, do not run in fear first. Ask, what is the source of this cry? Is it the sound of truth or the echo of fear? A man who walks in darkness does not see the path, no matter how fast he moves. Similarly, when we blindly believe what we are told without pausing to look within, we stumble. Conflict between nations, especially those born of shared soil, history, and pain, must not be reduced to headlines or hashtags. The moment we see us versus them, we must ask, who has drawn this line and for what purpose? Discernment is the foundation of truth, not all noise is knowledge. In a world where information travels faster than thought, and opinions are shared before facts are even known, the human mind is constantly under assault. We hear a headline, see a post, and instantly form a belief. We listen to the loudest voice and assume it must be the wisest, but wisdom is not born out of volume. It is born out of clarity, reflection, and silence. Truth does not need to shout to be heard. It reveals itself only to those who are patient enough to seek it, and silent enough to listen. Discernment means the ability to see through the fog, to tell the difference between what appears to be and what actually is. This is not a skill one is born with, it is something that must be cultivated like a garden. In today's climate, especially when we speak of war, conflict, or danger between nations like India and Pakistan, the loudest voices are often not the most reliable. They may carry power, but not peace. They may echo emotion, but not evidence. Fear, anger, nationalism, pride, these are powerful tools, and they can all be triggered by carefully designed words, images, and narratives, but the wise do not react immediately. The wise pause, the wise ask, who is speaking, why now, what do they gain? Just because something is repeated does not make it true. Just because everyone believes it does not make it right. Mass belief is not proof of reality, it is often a reflection of manipulation. A society that loses its power to think for itself becomes easy to control. So when you hear news of war or hatred, before you take a side, ask yourself, have I seen the full picture or only what I was allowed to see? Discernment is not about doubting everything. It is about listening deeply and without bias. It is about knowing the difference between a fact and an opinion, between noise and signal. When you hear of conflict, ask if you are being given both sides of the story. Ask who benefits if you become afraid, who profits if you become angry. Ask whether the people you are told to hate have actually harmed you, or if they too are just caught in the same storm of stories and suspicion. To be discerning is to be free. It is to reclaim your mind from the grip of manipulation. It is to stand still while the world panics, to think clearly while others react blindly. Truth is never far, but it hides behind the curtain of noise. And only those with calm eyes and quiet hearts will ever find it. Let your search for truth begin not with headlines, but with silence, not with anger, but with awareness, because not all noise is knowledge, and not all who speak truth. Fear divides where love can unite. We must rise above illusion. Fear is one of the oldest emotions known to humanity. It has protected us in the face of danger, warned us of threats, and taught us to survive. But in the modern world, especially in matters between nations and people, fear is often no longer a shield, it has become a weapon. When fear is planted intentionally, it grows into suspicion, hatred, and division. It separates people who have never met, breeds anger between those who have never harmed each other, and creates enemies out of strangers. In this way, fear becomes the enemy of truth and the destroyer of unity. Love, on the other hand, is our natural state. Before the mind is filled with narratives, before the heart is poisoned by bias, a human being recognizes another human being as part of the same creation. A child does not know enemy or ally. It knows only care, connection, and curiosity. Love does not need to be taught, it only needs to be uncovered. But fear is constantly fed by voices that thrive on division, by systems that profit from conflict, and by minds that have forgotten how to see beyond borders. When two nations are made to fear each other, the people suffer. The ones who declare the wars often sit safe behind desks, while the ones who fight or flee carry the pain. And yet, if you put an ordinary person from one land beside an ordinary person from another, you will see more similarities than differences. Their hopes are the same: a better life, a peaceful home, a future for their children. Their pain is the same: the loss of loved ones, the sting of poverty, the weight of injustice. It is only the stories they are told that change, and these stories, when written with fear, can turn neighbor against neighbor, and brother against brother. But illusion cannot stand forever. The truth is this: fear is loud because it is hollow. Love is quiet because it is strong. When you see someone from a so-called enemy nation, do not see the label. Look into the eyes. You will see dreams, not danger. You will see humanity, not hostility. Rise above the illusion that you are separate. Rise above the illusion that others must be feared just because someone told you so. Rise above the illusion that your identity is tied to someone else's downfall. The world does not need more soldiers with guns. It needs more warriors of the heart. Those who can stand firmly in compassion, even when provoked by hatred. Those who can respond with understanding, even when surrounded by noise. The strength of a nation is not in its fear of another, but in its love for its own people and its willingness to extend that love beyond borders. Fear divides, but love, when chosen with courage, has the power to unite even what seems forever broken. Real strength is in calm clarity, not in reactive anger. In the face of provocation, it is easy to react. It is easy to raise a voice, clench a fist, or speak words fueled by rage. But this is not strength, it is impulse. True strength is not in how loudly we respond, but in how wisely we choose to act. Anger may look powerful for a moment, but it often leaves behind destruction in relationships, in nations, and within our own hearts. A mind burning with anger cannot see clearly. It rushes, it assumes, it wounds, but a calm mind, steady and still, sees through the storm and finds the right path forward. In times of conflict, whether between individuals or nations, the call to anger is always louder than the call to understanding. People demand immediate action, fast answers, visible force, but haste born from emotion is the enemy of peace. It is in these moments, when everyone else is losing control, that calm clarity becomes a rare and sacred power. The one who can remain grounded while others are swept away by emotion becomes the guide, the anchor, the light in the dark. Clarity does not mean inaction. It does not mean weakness or retreat. It means seeing a situation as it truly is, without the cloud of ego or fear. It means acting from wisdom, not reaction. A wise ruler, a strong leader, or a conscious human being does not allow themselves to be dragged down by the waves of public pressure or emotional chaos. Instead, they rise above it, like a mountain untouched by the storm, because they understand the weight of their decisions. When two countries face tension, anger often becomes the first tool used in speech, in media, in rhetoric. But anger blinds, it turns people into slogans, identities into targets. Calm clarity, on the other hand, asks deeper questions. It listens, it reflects, it seeks solutions, not revenge. A leader who reacts in anger may win applause for a day, but leave scars for generations. A leader who chooses clarity over chaos may be misunderstood in the moment, but becomes remembered as the one who prevented disaster. Even within ourselves, we must learn to choose this strength. When someone insults us, the easy choice is to respond in kind. The hard choice, the strong choice, is to understand that their words come from their own suffering or confusion. To respond without losing our peace is not weakness. It is the highest form of inner mastery. Only those who are truly strong can remain soft in the face of hardness. Only those who are truly awake can stay still when the world pushes. So, when you are faced with anger, your own or someone else's, pause, breathe, return to clarity. Ask not, how can I win this moment? But what action will serve the greater good? Because true strength is not measured by how loud you can be, but by how clearly you can see and still choose peace. Truth does not shout, it is realized in silence and reflection. In a world where everyone seems to be speaking, posting, arguing, and declaring what they believe to be right, the quiet voice of truth is often drowned out. But truth is not something that demands attention. It does not force itself upon you. It waits patiently to be discovered by those who are willing to go beyond noise, beyond emotion, beyond bias. It is found not in the loudest headlines, but in the deepest silences. It does not come through arguments, but through awareness. Many confuse volume with value. They believe that if something is repeated often enough or shouted loudly enough, it must be true. But repetition does not turn a lie into truth. It only creates illusion. Truth is not in the crowd's opinion, it is in the stillness of your own heart. It does not ask you to react. It asks you to reflect. It does not ask for your loyalty. It asks for your sincerity in seeking it. When you sit in silence, away from the noise of social media, the chaos of news, and the pressure of popular opinions, you begin to hear another voice, the voice within. That voice is not attached to ego or fear. It is not driven by the need to be right or praised. It only seeks clarity, and it is in this inner space that truth becomes visible. Like the reflection of the moon on still water, it can only be seen when the surface is calm. In times of conflict, like those spoken about between India and Pakistan, there is a flood of information claims, accusations, predictions. People rush to choose sides, to defend, to attack. But amid this noise, how many stop and ask, what is the deeper truth? What is really happening behind what we are being shown, and even deeper, what is our role as human beings in responding to this? The truth is not about who is to blame. It is about what we are becoming in our response. Are we becoming more divided, more angry, more fearful, or are we becoming more aware, more compassionate, more courageous in the face of manipulation? Those who rush to speak often miss the truth. Those who sit and listen, even if only to their own conscience, begin to see what others miss. Silence is not emptiness. It is a space of revelation. When we stop trying to prove ourselves right, we create the space for truth to show itself. When we stop arguing long enough to listen, truth begins to speak not in words, but in understanding. It reveals not only the facts, but the meaning behind them, and once seen clearly, truth transforms. It humbles the ego, clears the mind, and strengthens the heart.